Hello, I'm Adele. I'm the instruction librarian at the Wilmington campus, and I have some resources that I want to show you that you would find useful for your Sociology 111 assignments. The first database we're going to look at, and you can see under resources, scroll down a little bit till you get to Deltec libraries and the library databases. The first database is the Credo database. And as you can see from the banner, Credo gives you background information to start your research. So it's kind of a good place to learn more about your topic and different keywords and different ways of searching. So your one of your assignments is to draw comparisons between the United States and a country of your choice. So I'm going to look for information about a country I just chose, Costa Rica. Type in your keywords and hit enter. And you can see from the top of the page I have almost 3,000 results, but you can limit them down if you needed to across the top banner where it says all types, all subjects, where all dates. I want to get newer information, and you can see that there's quite a bit of information based on year going back to 2010, but I'm going to do a range from 2017 to 2021. Okay, so then I have 1,066 results, and the first one that comes up is, you can see at the top of the page, it's called Costa Rica from the Columbia Encyclopedia. And if I want to look at the full text of that, I just click on the link for the hyperlink for Costa Rica. And this gives you, right off the bat, it gives you the estimated population, the square kilometers of the country, what countries are around it, information about the land and people, economy and government, and the history. So this might give you a couple of jumping off points to make your comparisons. At the top of the page, you have choices where the citation, you do need to cite your sources if it's not your own information. If you click on the link for citation, it gives you the APA citation, which is great. And also you can print it. I always recommend emailing yourself the results so you have access to it later and that you don't lose the printouts. If you click where it says share across the top banner, it gives you the option to put in your email address. And you can see you can export it to Google Drive. I always like emailing it. Definitely click the full text so you get the full article. Put in your own information. It could be your Deltec email or your own personal email. I chose that I wanted the citation format to go with me, so I have the APA with the article, and click go, and then that will be sent to your email address. So another part of your assignment is to the debate on gender in sports. So while we're already in Credo, I'm going to do a search on that. So if I just type the keywords gender and sports, it brings up 8,000 results. But if you take a look at this, some of it's just like the history, Women's Almanac, 500 Years in the Making for Sports, key concepts in exercise science. So some of it might not be appropriate for what you're researching. But I noticed too across the first one, the first results, it mentions gender equality. So maybe I want to narrow it down too, and maybe talk about not just gender in sports, but specifically narrowing down my topic to the discrimination aspect of this and make it more specific. So I'm going to leave gender in sports and add the word discrimination, and click enter. So I went from 8,000 results to now I've narrowed it down to 358 results. So if you take a look at this, how to navigate racism and discrimination in organized sports, that's the title of the article from a book called Diversity, Understanding and Navigating Discrimination in America. If I click on the hyperlink, it brings up that article, and it gives, you can see racial discrimination in sports, and also gender discrimination in sports. So this looks like definitely I would want to have access to this to use for my research. So at the top of the page, you want to send that to yourself. So that would just be clicking on that share link, and then make sure that you choose the full text option, and then the APA, put in your information, and send that. So that's the first database that I want you to use for this. So that's Credo. Going back, I want to take us to the EBSCOhost database. And you can do, EBSCOhost gives you academic articles on your topics. Credo's more coming from encyclopedias, and it's more not as specific, but it's a good overview to get familiar with it. For the first thing that we want to look at, I want to go over the gender discrimination question. So there's a lot of databases within EBSCOhost. You do not want to click all because some of these databases aren't specific for what you need. If you look down somewhere, like CINAHL is a health-related database, so I don't need to search that for my research this time. Medline. So you definitely want to go click on academic search and just check the box when I say click. Master file. And further down, there are databases specific to education. And being that oftentimes in high school, they have sports teams, and there's always questions of whether gender plays a role in women not having access to better equipment than men do. Or so we're going to look at that. So the education databases, Education Research, and ERIC. So click Continue. And then we want to put our keywords in, so I'm going to just use the same ones, gender discrimination. And then you can see it kind of does autofill, and it's, I want to go look at the gender discrimination in sports. And click, okay, so we come up with 32 results. So if you look at and pay attention to, because 32 is not a lot to go through, but we do want to narrow it down where it says limit to. Notice the date range. So the earliest article on the left-hand side, it says the earliest articles from 1995 to the current year. So unless you're doing an overview, historical overview of what was happening in the 1990s with discrimination and how far we've progressed since then, usually you, if you're not doing that kind of research, you would want things within the last 5 years. To stay more current, so let's kind of do 6 years, close enough. And then not everything in EBSCOhost is full text, so I want to look for something that, and it's, you can see the link, it says full text finder. That won't get me the whole article, but okay, so if I'm looking for things that are full text, or I can limit it to full text, and you see limit to, click on that. Okay, so the first one, talent alone does not suffice. So this is it's specific to tennis, but the difference between media visibility between men and women. If I'm not quite sure if this is going to be something I can use, if you hover over on the right-hand side, that little magnifying glass, and click on that, it gives you an abstract, which is a summary of your article. And let's take a look at this. So it's definitely about gender inequality. So this is very specific. But if it's something you want to look at the full text, click on the link for PDF full text. And then this is your article. And even if you just take a couple of, quotes from this, or some information, you don't have to use everything in this article, but it's good to have access to something that's been published, and that's, something that you can use for comparing gender discrimination in sports. Once you're in the full text of the article, on the right-hand side, you'll notice a banner comes up with how you can get this article. So you can save it to your Google Drive. That's the first choice on the right. Print it. You can email it to yourself. And the fifth choice down, which looks like that yellowed piece of paper, if I click on that, and brings me up to the citation format, and you want to choose the APA citation, which is very beneficial when you're citing your sources, that the database kind of helps you do most of the work. So when you email this article to yourself, click on the little link for the envelope, put in your own email address, and on the right side, include when sending, you want to make sure you choose that you want to send the citation format. So click on that little circle, that's called a radio button, and change the change the citation format till you get to APA 7. And when you email that, you'll get the full text article plus the citation. If I go back up to the green banner results list, you can take a look at some of the other articles that come up. And since there wasn't so much in this, let's look for some other keywords. Okay, let's just try discrimination in sports and kind of broaden it since we had so few with that one. And because we use discrimination, this can be all different types of discrimination. Taking a look at some of these. Race and sports, but we're looking for gender, women. And sometimes research, I like to remind myself that sometimes the word search is in it, and that sometimes we definitely have to search and find the right article, something that you can use. So this is about gender discrimination, about college athletes. So I'm looking at some of the keywords underneath. It's specific to women coaches. But if you wanted to take a look at that summary, click on the right side. Okay, that one doesn't look so great. Let's take a look. So sexism in professional sports. So this is specific to women managers. That could provide you with some information. So hover over, read the abstract, which is your summary. And notice too, they give you different subject terms. This is always great to pay attention to because you might learn different ways to find your, to kind of change your keywords up, but maybe try gender inequality in sports. Our search was discrimination in sport, so this is another way of searching. So let's get back into that summary. I'm just going to copy and paste that and do another search. Okay, so this one looks good. Making community youth sports fair and accessible for girls. Pull up the abstract. Okay, so that's about equitable access to community sports. So that looks great. Click on the PDF. And then definitely email that to yourself. So those are just a couple of the databases that you can use. I encourage, if you have any questions, you can reach out to one of the librarians if you're not at the Wilmington campus. At all campus libraries have librarians that are working, so you can reach out to us and we can help you if you have further questions. There's also on the Dell Tech page, all the way towards the bottom, there is a guide, the APA style guide, so you can use that to double check your citations. And there is a link towards the top for Ask a Librarian. If you needed to find information, need help with any of your library resources, you can enter your question here, put your information in, and within 24 hours, a librarian will get back to you with an answer. So those are some other options. Thank you very much. And like I said, if you need anything, reach out to one of the campus librarians. Thanks and have a great day.